Today's subject matter is a Mega Drive title that never made it to North American shores outside of a piss break on the short-lived Sega channel, at least until its 2009 emergence on the original Wii Virtual Console, which is the version I'm playing here. This is Pulseman, released in 1994 by Sega and conceived by Game Freak. Now if that last name sounds familiar, it should, because Game Freak is the very same developer behind the relatively obscure game series called Pokemon. The one that nobody's ever heard of. I think it's the one with Sonichu. I think. Could be wrong. Anyways, the premise of Pulseman is relatively simple. You are Pulseman, a half-human, half-digital life form who must save the world from the evil machinations of the cliché crazy scientist guy who just so happens to be your creator gone mad. Because reasons. Right off the bat, one would immediately assume this is a spin-off of Mega Man, an assumption somewhat supported by the ability to choose the order of the stages you wish to tackle. However, upon playing Pulseman, one will find that the gameplay shares more similarities and commonalities with the Sonic the Hedgehog series than anything. That sort of fast-paced platforming going from point A to point B with occasional bouts of exploration here and there, looking for items and things of that nature. Pulseman has a rather basic set of abilities. He could jump, he could punch things, he could do leg sweeps, he could do an upwards flip kick to take out airborne enemies, and he could run really fast and gather up energy to perform slightly more enhanced moves, such as shooting a projectile or using said energy to execute his signature Volt Tackle ability, which generally transforms Pulseman into an energy bolt that bounces around solid scenery or rides along certain rails at high speeds. Pulseman even has a dash ability that can be used to cross small gaps, but it's most likely to be used to give yourself a quick charge to be able to use your Volt Tackle, which does all that cool stuff and smash through bad guys along the way, or you could use it to reach a higher platform, I guess. Learning to use the Volt Tackle effectively is essential in traversing the many levels that await you, most of which are fairly straightforward in terms of going through the level, but there are times where if you need to stray off the beaten path, you might find some items like health pickups, 1-ups, and these marble things where every 10 marbles collected earns you an extra life. Controlling Pulseman takes a bit of a groove to really handle, primarily in regards to the way he runs. Pulseman starts off at a rather leisurely jog, but after a few steps will immediately move faster without warning. This could sometimes lead to stupid things being done, like falling into pits or running into hazards. It does take a while to get the hang of the controls and get a feel for them, but once you do, it's not too bad. Expect a slip up or two along the way, but at the very least it's functional and responsive, so there's no knocking it too much. Pulseman's a pretty lengthy affair, approximately 7 stages worth comprising approximately 30 to 40 levels total, so there's definitely plenty of game to go around here, and each stage is relatively unique, with some different themed worlds and some unique visual stylings. What this game does not have is a save option. No passwords, no battery backup, nothing. All you have are a couple continues with 3 lives each, and once that's gone, that's the end of your adventure. There is a cheat code out there that enables a full level select, but that's something you could look up yourself if you care for such things. I honestly could care less. Never had much of a need for it, so sorry, can't help you there. One word comes to mind when it comes to Pulseman's visuals, and that's variety. Whether it's in regard to the vast character designs, or the worlds that comprise the 7 stages of this game. Each of the 7 worlds sports different visual styles, and the end result is some of the more diverse backdrops seen in a single video game, and certainly sporting some of the more impressive visuals seen on latter-day Mega Drive / Genesis video games. Whether it's your typical cityscape, or this polygonal space, there's a certain vibe and feel when traversing through these realms that it's almost mystical in a way, a strange sensation in a futuristic setting of science and technology. Going back to the character and enemy designs, bearing that simple, simplistic anime-ish art style, whether it's the main Pulseman character, or the wireframe hand boss, or some of the other boss characters even, there's personality and charm to this game in regards to its visuals. Truly impressive stuff here. Likewise, the sound in Pulseman is pretty exceptional stuff as well. You've got a suitably wonderful collection of background music that evokes numerous tones throughout the game, from upbeat to somber, and all of these fit the overall feel of the world that Pulseman inhabits, and does a good job of getting you into that frame of mind where you're traveling through these digital or futuristic worlds. Sound effects aren't too shabby, nothing amazing, but they sound fine. And then of course, there's the smattering of voice samples that occur whenever you pick up power-ups or close to death or some other scenarios that might come across. A nice touch, no doubt, that is unfortunately hindered by the extremely coarse quality of these voice bites. Well, It's the thought that counts, at least. I jump into Pulseman expecting a fairly paint-by-numbers side-scrolling platformer with a cutesy character and not much in terms of substance, despite some of the murmurings I've heard regarding this game, and I come out of it pleasantly entertained and satisfied with its surprising abundance of variety, sensational visual effects, and generally solid presentation overall that makes for a great little game that sadly didn't get the full exposure that other less worthy games have been given. And while it might take a beat to get the hang of the controls, this is still an exceptionally well-made video game that is worthy of a place in anyone's video game collection. All in all, if you get the chance to try this gem of a game, don't pass it up because Pulseman is a great little game that delivers in the fun factor, and that in itself is worth its weight in gold.